sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports Dudes here live on this Saturday morning, ready to have this huge debate about the Big Ten football versus SEC football. Who's number one? I got a bunch of the crew here this morning. I got my man SEC Sean. You already know what side he's probably on. How you feeling this morning, SEC?
We're good. I wondered if we were going to do this show, and once I saw yesterday that you dropped it out there that let's talk it, and I said, well, I had to rearrange some stuff at work to be here for this one because I got to stand up. I know we kind of outnumbered with the Big Ten people, so I got to come in and do my best.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't leave me hanging out here. We also got our man post-game of post-game sports. How you feeling this morning post-game?
Feeling pretty good. He must have stepped away from his mic.
Okay, maybe he stepped away. We also got our man Mossberg of Level Up Sports 10 with us here for a little bit this morning. Well, before he had to go and make the people happy with some of that good food he makes. How you feeling this morning, Mossberg?
Man, feeling pretty good, man. Thankful, blessed, and just glad to be here with the guys, man. Seeing everyone this morning before, like you said, go cooking up for KT's Good Eats, one of the sponsors of the show, man. And just blessed to be here another day to do what we do great in this awesome Big Ten versus SEC talks to get my great opinions in before I get out of here. But it's great to be here.
We also got our man T1 of City League TV, somebody else, one of the most talented and gifted people I've ever known in my life. My man T1, how you feeling this morning, bro?
It's a beautiful morning. You know how I do. You know how I feel. My voice still ain't all the way there, but I'm in the building. Good to see y'all.
Good to see you too as well, bro. And our man post-game of the Post-Game Sports Podcast is here with us too. How you feeling post-game?
Hey, man, I feel good. And y'all know how I do. Just try to take care of the children before they eat me.
I know that's right. We want to thank everybody that's out there in the chat that's joining us for this huge discussion about the Big Ten versus the SEC when it comes to football. What's up, Danger Dog 2137? What's up, Jackson Luna 408? We also got our man Wiz in the building with us as well. Papa Whitmore, glad to see you all in here. Let's go ahead and get right at it, and let's get into this action. We're talking about the Big Ten, and we got some more of the crew coming in. Oh, the guys from the Big Ten are in the building.
Slate this
we got our man, One Take Zaya.
Yeah, look. What up with y'all, man? Hey, my bad for being late, man. You know I was coming. I was coming to body slam you, Rob.
Hey, it's okay. I can take a body slammer too. I done had it in my lifetime, so I can take a couple of more, even at 57 years of age. Come on, little young homie. Bring it over here. Also got our man Parlay Poe. I know he wasn't going to miss it because he's coming from Big Ten. He has one of those 3 national championships with Michigan, so I know he's ready for this action. How you feeling, Parlay Poe?
Man, I can't complain. Ain't nobody gonna listen to me. How y'all doing, fellas?
Doing good.
I'm feeling pretty good, man. Good to see you in the building, man. Go Blue. And
Go
I gotta
Blue.
say, man, every time I see you, man, Natty champ. It don't matter if it's football. It don't matter if it's basketball. You represent Blue, and you still a Natty
You already
champ.
know that. You already know that.
Time out, Moss. What you mean, go blue? Who is your team? Don't nobody say go blue unless they're a Michigan fan. What's your problem, dude?
I'm giving him
Hey,
his go Blue.
I ain't hear you say 08. I ain't hear you say 08 when I start talking. See,
We
you
ain't
showing
gonna start that
favoritism.
nonsense this morning, man. We ain't gonna start that nonsense this morning.
Rob,
But,
I'm not
Poe,
sure you
we on the same team.
I'm glad your audio is right today, man.
Hey, listen, they might be Big Ten guys, but they still got a love-hate relationship when you talk about them Buckeyes and their Go Blue. Let's go, y'all. Let's get into it. After 3 national championships, is the Big Ten the new king of college football? SEC Sean, won't you start us off?
Yeah, as of right now, I'd have to put them at the top, but are they the king? I don't know. They are the king for the past 3 years, but remember, the SEC won 4 in a row and numerous before that. So I'm not going to crown them necessarily the king. They're the king of the past couple of years, but they're not the new one yet. They haven't bypassed the SEC in recent history.
Okay. Post game, what's your thoughts?
You got to give it to the Big Ten right now, off the simple fact that they've won 3 in a row. The proof is always in the pudding. And if the proof is always in the pudding, then as of right now, as of today, the Big Ten is on top, and they are the kings of college football.
Okay, what you think, One Take?
Man, y'all heard Sean. SEC guys can't admit nothing, bro. They can't admit it. They know we the kings, and they still can't admit it. You know, they can't admit it at all. We know we the kings. Hey, like post game said, if the champion win, they the champions until they dethrone.
What's your take on that, T1?
Hey, it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. They had it good for a minute out here when the playing field wasn't even. But when we got to being able to pass out a little bit of money, things change. So it feels good being up on top.
Mossberg, what's your thoughts?
With me, man, I said it last year when we had similar discussions. Big Ten win another championship. I'm putting the Big Ten at the top when it comes to the Big Ten versus the SEC. Talking about Indiana, Ohio State, and Michigan, and how did they win these national championships? I think they did it with no losses on their way. So I think that's a bigger thing that we have to look at as well, with Ohio State having that loss to Michigan. But when you look at the way they win these titles, I think you're talking about 1 to none. They're not just putting on shows. They're putting on excellence, performances by not quarterbacks. You're talking about receivers defensively. The Big Ten has changed the game in college football, not only with them winning the national championships, but the NIL, the portal. You want to be a part of the Big Ten if you in college football.
What's your take on that, Parlay Poe?
3 in a row, man. Undisputed champions, man. There's no doubt that the Big Ten is the best conference in football right now. Just like T1 said, it's an even playing field now. Everybody get the suitcase. So right now it's going to be, for the sake of future, Big Ten is going to be running stuff.
Okay. I have to say this, man. I'm going to tell you right now, whenever you got 3 straight national champions from 3 different teams, 2 of which were undefeated, you have a serious argument that the Big Ten is the best conference when it comes to navigating the playing field in this college football playoffs the last 3 years, because proof is in the pudding. They got 3 straight national championships by, like I said, 3 different teams. 3 different. Now, do I think they're the best conference? I don't know about that, but we're going to find out here in a minute once we go through the rest of these questions and see what each conference is looking like from top to bottom. Our next question is, why is there a debate about who runs college football? Why is this even a discussion? We're going to start with you, Parlay Pope.
It's a discussion because you know how SEC fans is. They don't believe nothing. And when it comes to the Big Ten, I'm talking about we, even though I don't like Ohio State, I give props to Ohio State. The SEC won't give props to their other teams. So it can't be no discussion. Big Ten is the best conference. Simple as that.
All right. What you think, Mossberg?
I think when you talk about Big Ten, SEC, you think about the fact that Nick Saban is not in the SEC anymore as a coach. That's one thing for me. And how the things have changed, with so many different teams winning. You don't really see Bama at that echelon as being this big prestigious school, but you see the Big Ten has been a powerhouse and right there. But now it's like they got a stronghold. And it's always, I feel, now going to be a debate because you got Alabama that played Ohio State years ago, but now you got Michigan, now you got Indiana, now you got Oregon that's joined, and you got Texas over in the SEC. Seeing all of these different teams, I think it's only right to have this type of debate because why not? It's college football's most two prestigious conference, if you ask me. It's only right to debate who's best. And then maybe we could see performances this coming college football season. I think we it's in tune for something special this season when it comes to the talks of Big Ten and SEC.
Give me what you got, T1.
Well, the Alabama SEC conference has been on top for so long. When you're just so used to, controlling everything, when you lose that control, you kind of like lose your mind and you get to talking stupid and stuff, and you really, really don't be knowing what's going on because, you're used to being the king. And now that they're no longer the kings and the Big Ten is kind of taking this thing over in a major, major way. Even if you look at the playoffs, the bowl games and the playoffs from this past season and the season before that, the Big Ten has been dominating the SEC, and it's kind of hard for them to believe, but I think they do understand that now that, as Parlay Post said, now that we get to pass that suitcase out as well, the playing field is level, and that's why Saban hopped up out of here because he know what it is, and that's probably the only reason why he was able to do what he was able to do, to get top classes after top classes and produce in a major way. So the SEC is just they're just waking up to reality in this new world of college football, and as of right now, the Big Ten runs it.
Okay, one take say what you got to say.
Man, I just think that the SEC they got a little delusion because they still gonna lead with the most draft picks in each draft. But my whole thing is I just think the coaching is better in the Big Ten, and that's where people don't give the Big Ten enough credit. These teams got all these different coaches. Y'all supposed to have all this talent in the NFL draft every year. But why is it the fact that a lot of these teams, when they meet Big Ten teams, they don't perform well? So the coaching in the Big Ten is more than anything with people not having the studs that maybe this team don't got. Why are they winning? It's clearly the coaching, bro, and I don't think the Big Ten get enough credit for that.
Post game, what you say?
Well, there's a debate about who's on top because of the SEC being on top and dominating for so many years. And then all of a sudden the Big Ten comes, like the guy said, the playing field is even now. Now the Big Ten has been in control for the last 3-4 years. I don't want to bring politics into it, but it reminds me of 2007 when everybody thought Hillary Clinton was going to win the election. And then Barack Obama comes out of nowhere and he kind of steals her show. That's how I see the Big Ten and SEC debate right now. The SEC has been dominating for so long. The Big Ten is still in the show the last few years.
Okay. SEC Shy, come on, man. These Big Ten guys is talking a lot of trash, bro. You got to defend this SEC. Let's go.
Well, I mean, I'm outnumbered here, but I'm going to do my best. The question really was, why is this a debate? We weren't debating it. Why is it a debate? Because it's college football. It's sports in general. If there's no debate between fan bases, or conferences or people, what are we really going to talk about? There has to be a debate. So that's why we have the debate, because the SEC for so long dominated. The Big Ten came on in the past few years and has put themselves right there. They're the two biggest. So that's why there's a debate. We're not sitting here debating the big Power Four and who's the best out of the Power Four, because we know the top two are the ones we're talking about right now. I, still have the SEC as one, but we'll get into that later in comments. But for everybody that was saying the playing field is level, if you really don't think your schools were spending money before they legally could, you're fooling yourself, because every school was dropping bags to kids back then.
Oh yeah, that's known. I think, but still, the playing field is level, because you think Big Ten really has a lot of money. A lot of money. We know what the SEC bring. They bring a lot of alumni too, but so does the Big Ten. King James literally, throws things at OSU. We know what Jordan doing when it comes to Michigan. Could that be a GOAT battle when it comes to it? It's so many different things. And this is something that, we've been waiting to cook up on and talk about. I feel like, because I think when it comes to the Big Ten, I think they've been pushing. And I think when you drop the NIL and include that and make that available for a conference like the Big Ten, where you got to travel to when it becomes cold, that's a difference maker too. You're going to want to go to the Big Ten to get that all around weather, get that feel. That's getting you prepared for the NFL. So I know the SEC's been doing this thing. I respect you on that one take. I think the Big Ten in these next few years might try to take a strong hold on that and get players onto the draft. We just don't know. This could be something to look at as well.
Hey, let me comment off of SEC Sean's thing right there too, and you had some really, really great points. But yes, absolutely. College sports they've been paying for a long time, but some schools are different. Some schools pay a little more. And one thing that the SEC has had in going good for them is not only can you get a bag, but you can come down here and have some beautiful weather, opposed to coming up here in the Midwest and getting a smaller bag, and it's colder, and when it's cold, it's ugly outside sometimes. So, that's another advantage that those SEC schools had during that time. So now we can give a bag, but the SEC is still spending more. They still giving out big bags. Like at Ohio State, you can't just come there and say, "Hey, I want a bag." We don't look at you. We'll turn you away. And that's what separates us from other schools, because other schools is throwing that bag. Texas.
Let me real quick on, because I know Zay made a really good point, and I agree with him. The Big Ten does have better coaching than the SEC right now. That is a fact. The only SEC coach I'd put on that level is Kirby. But the rest of them, I have always said that, the Big Ten does have better coaches as a whole across the top schools anyway.
Let me ask y'all this. Let me ask you this. Why did SEC always recycle their coaches though?
What do you mean recycle? Like,
I'm saying like the defensive coordinator from Florida can get fired, and then year or two later, he the defensive coordinator for LSU. You know what I mean? Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin. All y'all do is recycle y'all's coaches.
Yeah, that's a question for people that make a lot more money than I do. I don't understand why they do it. I understand Kiffin moving from Mississippi to LSU because it's LSU. It's a bigger brand. But why do they keep getting coaches from the same schools that have been fired? I don't know. I can't answer that for you.
Hey, Paul, I can tell you, because the SEC arrogant, man. They think if you ain't if you ain't got SEC blood, you don't belong. They just arrogant.
No, I don't think I don't think it's that either. One take, but what I do think it is whenever you got a coach that is coached in the SEC, if a team is looking for a coach, they want a coach from the that was in the SEC who understands the landscape of the SEC. Because whenever you bring somebody from, let's say, the ACC, who is not familiar with the style of play that it takes to play in the SEC, they don't do well. Or if you get somebody from the Big 12, the only conference you can get somebody from to come to the SEC that understands the landscape because they're very similar is the Big 10. And you do see some Big 10 coaches who end up coming to be coordinators or position coaches in the SEC. But the reason why they do that is because those teams know that they got to get a coach that understands the landscape of the SEC, that can recruit in the SEC and knows the style of play that it takes to play in the SEC. That's why they recycle them so much, because they need a guy who understands their landscape. Let's go.
Eventually, y'all gonna run out of coaches.
Well, you got to understand something. How many guys were in that Saban tree? Now you're seeing a whole bunch of guys in the Kirby Smart tree. So, I mean, we ain't going to run out of coaches because there are always going to be young, up-and-coming guys that somebody is going to put a word in for, that's going to come as a position coach and eventually become a coordinator, so on and so forth. Or it might be somebody, a player who formerly played in the SEC that now wants to go into coaching, that understands it as well. So it's going to keep on recycling itself, but they never going to run out of coaches, because there's too many guys out there that want to coach in the SEC, just like there's a whole bunch of guys that want to coach in the Big Ten and in those other conferences as well. Let's look at our next question in this debate about which is the better conference, the Big Ten or the SEC when it comes to football. Who do you think year in and year out has the strongest in-conference schedule? Let's start with you, SEC, Sean, since you went last on that last question.
Conference schedule, hardest one year in and year out is the SEC. And I don't really think it's close, to be honest with you. When you consider the entire landscape of the schedule, you're constantly, and I know we're going to hear it, so I'm going to throw it out there. I know we're going to hear, it seems tougher because of the SEC bias in the rankings. I get that. But if y'all look at our rankings, a lot of y'all Big Ten people had a lot of SEC schools in your rankings. So you can't really call it bias if you're doing it too. But to me, the schedule the SEC has is tougher than the Big Ten, and it's not really close.
Post game, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, this is where I lean to the SEC. I think the Big Ten, the top 2, 3, 4 teams are the best teams, some of the best teams in the country. But the SEC, top to bottom, is probably a little bit better. You think about A&M, Mississippi, Bama, Oklahoma, Texas, Vanderbilt, Missouri, teams like that. In conference scheduling, I'm going to have to side with the SEC on this.
What's your thoughts, One Take?
Yeah, I'm going Big Ten. We got maybe 4 of the top 10 teams in the country. There's no other way to look at it. You gotta have one of these teams or maybe 2 of these teams on your schedule. That's instantly going to put the strength of schedule that you got, regardless of who else is on the schedule. It's going to jack it all the way up if you got either one of them, a combination of them teams on your schedule. So I got to go with the Big Ten on that.
What about you, T1?
Man, so of course there's a bias anytime a top 25 comes out and you have 11, 12 SEC teams in that top 25. That's going to make their strength of schedule look better. And I would love to see one of these SEC teams come up north and play one of these Midwestern Big Ten schedules where you got to really play football. You know, down south, they're having fun. You know, you take our Big Ten teams and put them down south in all this beautiful weather where you're basically even at the high school level and in middle school, they playing football year round, you know. You know, we're just now getting to doing 7-on-7s up here up north, but down south they're playing football year round. They have beautiful, absolutely beautiful weather. So, you know, I would love to see some of those Big Ten, some of those SEC teams come up in Big Ten territory during real football season and play some football. And let's see if they can play some football not in that beautiful weather where they can just throw it all over the place. Let's see if they can play some football. You know, like I'll say, like when Michigan played Alabama in that bowl game, and we thought Alabama was gonna win for sure, but a tsunami came. You know, the weather was horrible. And that Big Ten team found a way to grind it out. The SEC don't know about grinding nothing out. All they know is playing football and winning or losing. But most of the time, the top teams, they're winning. Then you talk about strength of schedule. Those top teams got 8, 9 automatic wins on their schedule before the season even start. So I don't even know what we're talking about with this SEC schedule that's just supposed to be so powerful. And anytime you go look at Alabama and Georgia's schedule, just like you can say the same for Ohio State, you're going to see 8 or 9 automatic victories.
What you say, Mossberg?
I'm going SEC. I feel SEC strength of schedule when you talk about strength of schedule, regardless of where you at throughout the season. SEC is always worried about that next week. It's always a big week. It might not look like it, but weeks down the road, based on the matchups that's playing, it's always a big week in the SEC. We've talked about that, discussed that within our chat a few times. I'm going with the SEC. And also, man, I'm about to get out of here. That's what I was waiting for you to get to me so I can get to KT's Good Eats, man. Make sure y'all come and see us today, man. We at 3341 Winchester Pike on the east side at Witten Farm Market parking lot, man. There's some great food there. And like Unc said last week, you can get the 2-for-1 special. They got the fresh baked goods, pies, donuts, coffee, ice cream shop right outside, even flowers for your landscaping garden. Come see them. And they got some non-sugar great beverages as well. And it's very good with fruit in it also. So it's just a place to be. And come see us today and get some of that great grub on the Mother's Day special weekend. A happy Mother's Day to all the mothers and to everyone in the group and the chat, to yours as well, man. And I'm going to get back with y'all, but I appreciate y'all having me this morning. And, man, I can't wait to watch everything as well, man. Big pieces and big ups, man. Shout out to the rest of the stream.
All right, peace, Mossberg.
Yes,
What's
sir.
your thoughts on that parlay, Poe?
Well, the ESPN SEC, man, come on, you know it's super biased, man. Y'all strength of schedule is because y'all's ratings, and these dudes really don't be that good at the end of the season, and y'all get that strength of schedule. So y'all be having bottom tier teams ranked high until the season start, and then y'all play each other and think it's gonna be a good game, and it don't be good games. So I'm going with the Big Ten in this one.
Hey, Paul was about to say OH, y'all, secretly. Y'all heard that.
I was gonna say no.
We heard it, Zay. Zay, we heard it. You got to have an ear for it. We heard it.
I ain't gonna say no 08. Man, y'all know what it is.
Yeah, I think when you look at week in and week out, the games, the matchups that we all see in the SEC and in the Big Ten as well, I think that when you look at everything, and I know everybody's saying about the rankings and all of that, but I think even if we had none of these teams ranked, when we start looking at some of the games that are played week in and week out, I think you would have to get a nod to the SEC in terms of the games that people want to watch the most. And I think there's some good games in the Big Ten, and they're top heavy right now because they always have a good solid 2, 3, 4 teams in it. But I think the SEC from top to bottom, 8, 9 teams are always pretty competitive in those games, and I would give that advantage to the SEC when it comes to the strongest strength of schedule in college between those two. Let's look at our next question. Does either of these conferences schedule a tougher out-of-conference schedule, in your opinion? We're going to start with you, Parlay Paul.
Not really. I ain't gonna lie. Not really. Both of them be having some cupcakes. So I'm saying, like, well, the way that the CFB is going right now, you got to schedule cupcakes now. You know, you got to schedule them cupcakes now. But I don't think neither conference have a tough was out of conference schedule.
What's your thought, T1?
Talking about cupcakes, let's say who schedules the biggest cupcakes? Who has the most delicious cupcakes? The Coastal Carolinas and McNeese States and the little itty bitty babies that the SEC teams be playing just be crazy. Like, yeah, we'll schedule a MAC team, but you got a MAC team that every year you got a MAC team upsetting somebody somewhere. You know what I mean? So, man, I just want to talk about the cupcakes. They got cupcakes. We don't do that, and that stuff is that helps them out tremendously. And we do schedule, like, we got Texas. We've been, and we all know that these schedules come out like years and years ahead of time. Like, we probably scheduled this Texas home and home like probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. So we know that them things come out way ahead of schedule. But we always put somebody on there. So I say we schedule pretty good. And I say the SEC, they be having them cupcakes. And they have them at the end of the season.
I know, that's what I said. They be having them on week 7.
Man.
Week 7 to 8, it'd be a cupcake.
No, they have one in week 10. Right before they play Alabama have one right before they play Georgia. It'd be week 9. They have a cupcake, and then they got Georgia the next week, or one of their big teams, and that's at the end of the season. That's weak. That's weak.
What you think, Wante?
Yeah, the Big Ten easily. Like that. This is where the arrogance come in too, though. Like the SEC think they so strong, and the strength of the SEC is so strong. But I'm waiting for a certain question to pop up to really break this down to y'all. I don't want to move ahead too fast. But they so arrogant. They think their conference is so strong that they don't have to schedule non-conference games.
What's your take, post game?
I'm going to give this one here a draw. I'm going to give it a draw. I see great matchups. I see soft matchups. But the fact that we got Ohio State and Texas, both of those teams could surely finish one on top of their respective conferences. I see Oklahoma and Michigan. That's a really good game I'm looking forward to. Wisconsin and Notre Dame. So I'm going to give this one a draw, y'all.
What's your take, SEC, Sean?
I don't know. This one's a little iffy because they do both schedule cupcakes. If you want to look at people scheduling people, yeah, we got some SEC Big Ten matchups, but go look at Indiana's first 5 games. Howard, Western Kentucky, North Texas, or something like that. And North Texas ain't going to be what they were last year, let's be fair. So, I think it's kind of even on this. I agree with that they both have cupcakes. They both have some decent games. One thing that's trending better for the SEC is they are forcing everybody to play one Power 4 school on non-conference. So, whereas the Big Ten doesn't implement that yet. So, to me, it's kind of a draw. I could kind of see either way. And let me add something in here. The reason you saw those cupcakes in the middle of the season on the SEC schedule in years past was because it was an 8-game schedule in the SEC before they switched to a 9, so they had to fill a game somewhere. That's why you saw that.
Yeah,
Go ahead, one take.
We know SIG adopted the SEC scheduling. You didn't have to break down SIG's schedule. He did exactly what the SEC did. He already said it in the press conference.
Well, I think both of these conferences are equal when it comes to this because when you look at it, all of their good schools, the ones that we know are going to be good year in and year out, they are playing against each other. I mean, you just seen Texas and Michigan. You just seen Michigan and OU. You got Ohio State and Texas, and you about to see Alabama and I think Ohio State coming up too in 27 and 28. So the good schools in both of these conferences always schedule against top tier competition. So I think it's a push. And if you're smart and your schedule is the way it is, you do schedule a cupcake late in the season because you know you got your rivalry game that's coming up. So that's only smart. But now they can't do that though because now they got a 9-game schedule, and then we'll see what those who think that they got this cupcakes thing going on. We'll see what their thoughts is after you see them play several years of a 9-game stretch in the SEC. Let's go to our next question, unless y'all got something else to add about that. All right. Which conference do you think has the biggest attendance, streaming, and television viewership between the Big Ten and the SEC?
Well, yeah, SEC got little stadiums, don't they?
They have some smaller stadiums. They do.
Yeah, see, when you talk about the two big gamers, 100,000 plus, Ohio State and Michigan, always a sellout, no matter who they playing. That's only two teams though, but still with State College and all that, I'm trying to get the nod to the Big Ten.
Yeah,
I think it due to the weather. I think the SEC may have us. You know, we do have bigger stadiums, but you know the weather can cause us to not have a sellout, or it can affect our attendance. Whereas when you're down south, weather's for the most part is pretty much beautiful.
It rained down there.
Yeah, but it like it don't be cold. You know, like we had some cold rain. We get some cold rain. It's gonna put a big dent in that attendance. You know, down there it's still good. They don't mind the rain.
Yeah, I think the Big Ten got better attendance, but I know SEC got the viewership numbers and the streaming numbers. They got that. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
Come on now.
The fan bases in the SEC go hard about their programs, man. We had to revive a couple programs in the Big Ten, man, because it was a few programs slacking for real.
Okay, what you think, post game?
Yeah, I'm going to lean towards the SEC when you talk about attendance, streaming, and television viewership. SEC for sure, Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma programs like that, Alabama, Georgia, with extremely loyal fan bases, ties to ESPN. I'm going to go with the SEC on this.
Okay. SEC, Sean, what's your thoughts?
It's definitely the SEC. You are right. The Big Ten has big stadiums. They have three, the top three. And then the next 7 are SEC schools. So we have huge stadiums. Kyle Field goes well over, it's 4th right now, 102,000. Tennessee, all them. So it's the SEC on this one, the attendance. Zay's right, fan bases are nuts about it down there. You are known that it's kind of an unwritten law that you don't schedule a wedding in the fall on a Saturday because you won't have people show up or everybody's going to be tuned into a football game. So it's the SEC on this one.
Did you go, T1?
Yeah, I went.
Yeah, when you look at it statistically, you do have those top three Big Ten teams that got the top three biggest stadiums. But when the numbers are crunched and you get to averages, the SEC got 80,362 average attendance per game, and then the Big Ten has 64,662. That's nearly 16,000 more fans going to watch an SEC game. So I think that will be the case. And then with viewership, 8 out of the top 10 are from the SEC. And when you look at regularly watched all season, 22 out of the 25 weeks or games or however it goes, the SEC got more viewership over the Big Ten. So it looks like the SEC might have that by a narrow margin when it comes to viewership. And we know there's some extenuating factors, whether you got how they are so gung-ho about watching football down there in the South. So we do know that that's part of why they are better. I'm trying to scroll up, man, so I can get to this next question. All right, there you go. All right. Who has the most anticipated matchups, the Big Ten or the SEC?
Yeah, I'm gonna go SEC with this one because this kind of go hand in hand with the viewership and all that. You know what I mean? So, like certain games, man, them fan bases, they get hyped up about it, bro. So, you know, I give credit where it's due. You know, the down south fan base, they get excited about some of these games. Bama, Georgia, it's a multitude of games I can name for real. I ain't even gonna go through it because it's really a lot of them. Every week, it's like another anticipated matchup where I think maybe the biggest games might come out of the Big Ten each year, but it's just the amplitude, the number of games that the SEC has that just takes it over the edge.
What you think, Parlay Paul?
Yeah, SEC. This go along with the rankings, and then the border wars and everything, Florida and Georgia, and all that. Like Zay said, it's too many names, but SEC for sure.
What you think, post game?
Yeah, I'm with Parlay Paul on this. I think the most anticipating matchups of the season, as far as the SEC go, or as far as college football goes, is definitely in the SEC.
Okay, what you think, T1?
We're gonna clean sweep it. I ain't tripping as hard as I am. But yeah, and it just like Parlay Post said a good one too. You know, them border wars, them, you know, and you got the Texas, then the LSU and the LSU and the Arkansas, the Floridas and the Georgias and all of that stuff. So they do have some pretty good matchup, and I just have to get that to them because we know up in the Midwest where you actually have to play football, sometimes it's not that entertaining and it's kind of boring. So I give it to the SEC.
Ooh, I love how you throwing them shots in, bro. I love that.
Yeah, don't he? He always got a shot or two to throw. What you say, SEC, Sean?
I mean, nothing else to say. We let the Big Ten guys go ahead and answer it for us. So, I know that hurt them all. They all probably running right now to get mouthwash because they hate saying stuff like that. So they losing their mind over there.
It ain't that deep. It ain't that deep.
It is the SEC for sure. I mean, you could run through them all. We don't have time to do all that. I mean, y'all mentioned Florida, Georgia. Y'all didn't even mention A&M, Texas OU. So
I don't like saying them names.
We could just go on for forever on it. So even hell, the Egg Bowl is anticipated between Mississippi and Mississippi State. So
yeah, it's the SEC. They're saying 22 out of 25 most watched regular season games was SEC matchup. So I think that speaks volumes, man, when you got – well, it involved the SEC team. Of course, when you look at Oklahoma and Michigan, that was a much-watched one. Texas, Ohio State, that was a much-watched one. But outside of those, the most of them were SEC matchups that were most watched. Let's look at our next question. Are the top 4 teams in the SEC better than the top 4 teams in the Big Ten in most years? Let's start with you, SEC, Sean.
In most years, no. In recent years, yes. In most years, no. Not in if you're taking, like, say, the past 10 years, if you want to say the most years. But as of right now, it's probably a yes with Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana, Michigan has been, had their little run there and it's been good. They kind of ticked back a little bit. But you're looking at, those teams right there. Yeah, you'd have to say that in most years it's the SEC, but right now it's probably pretty even, or the Big Ten's ahead just a little bit on that.
What you think post game?
Yeah, if you say right now, I gotta give the tilt to the Big Ten, Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, Indiana, teams like that. But if you're talking about most years, I'm gonna get a slight lean to the SEC.
What you think?
Hey, y'all. Oh, you said Paul. Go ahead, Paul.
Or maybe he's froze. You go ahead and go.
I'll go. Hey, listen, y'all. Y'all know the host is SEC. This is a slanted question for the SEC because they still trying to live off of Saban. You know what I'm saying? We understand what Saban was to the sport. We understand. We get. So when you say most, you got to include Saban. Saban ain't that far removed from the sport. So, but post Saban, we done seen what's going to happen. It's just the Big Ten.
Okay, what you think, T1?
I had to step away for a minute. What was that again? Give me that question again.
Who do you think has the best top 4 teams in most years between the Big Ten and the SEC?
What does most years mean? Because most recently is the Big Ten. And if you go and pass before our run that we're making right now, you go with the SEC. So right now, Big Ten.
All right. Yeah, I think recently we've seen that the Big Ten has had some of the top 4 teams in the country, especially when you look at the year Michigan won the national title. They were the best team in college football. Ohio State was undefeated until they played Michigan in that game. They were one of the better teams in the country. Even though they didn't make that 14 playoff, they were one of the better teams in the country, and it was because of that game that they did not make it. And then when you look at the year before that, when you had Ohio State win it, you had Oregon there. It was one of the best teams in the country, and along with Indiana. But I think over the last 3 years, it's been the Big Ten. But when you look at most years, of course, it's the SEC. The dominance that you've seen from Georgia, the dominance that you've seen from Alabama in their runs, they were the best teams in the country at that time. But here recently, it's definitely been the Big Ten, in my opinion. Let's go ahead and look at both of these conferences and what the matchups would have been, because I think the other question I had got erased. Oh, no, there it go. Does the Big Ten have a better middle pack teams over the SEC? Who has the better middle pack? We know the Big Ten has the top 4, but whose teams are better in the middle between the SEC and the Big Ten? Let's go to you, SEC, Sean.
All right. This one's a little tougher because I'm trying to figure out who's the middle of the pack in both conferences. If I'm looking at it, I'm probably saying it's teams like Illinois.
Let me tell you real quick. The top four for the Big Ten is Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan. The top four for the SEC was Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M. The middle of the pack was USC, Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota, Washington. Then you got Texas, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Tennessee.
Man, that middle of the pack question's tough because, you know, I have to lean SEC a little bit on this one, but it's not by much at all. It's very, very close with the middle of the pack in my mind. I think if those teams all played each other, you probably have an even record between them, like 3-3, 4-4, something like that. I just don't see much separation between the middle of the pack.
What you think, post game?
Man, that's really tough because it's like, who is the middle? Like, are we going off last year's standings or are we going through this year's projections? And if we going through last year's standings, man, you got to think about teams like Vandy, Missouri, Tennessee, LSU. And the Big Ten, you got to think about Iowa, Washington, the Illini, Minnesota. I'm gonna give the ever so slight edge to the SEC when you talk about middle of the pack teams. I trust those SEC teams more than the Big Ten teams, as far as middle of the pack goes.
All right. What do you think, One Take?
Yeah, I think a lot of when you move into areas like this is brand bias. You will hear Iowa or something, you don't respect it, or you'll hear maybe a Washington or something, you won't respect it. I think it's even. Like, I think it's even. Sean was pretty much saying it was even, but he went with a slight edge in the SEC. I think it's even. I think if you had these teams play on an even number of games, I think it'd be a split draw.
What you say, T1?
Man, I thought our middle of the pack teams just did some things here in this last bowl season. So I'm gonna say that it's close, but I'm gonna give the edge to the Big Ten, as we have been. Our middle of the pack teams have been beating these SEC teams. So I'm going with the edge, although it's close. I'm going with the edge with the Big Ten.
Yeah,
our middle of the pack teams have been beating y'all's Missouris and all of them other little dudes. Like we've been doing that.
Yeah, I think it's very, very close as well. And in a minute, we're going to go down every matchup that would have taken place 1 through 16 in both of these conferences. But I think it's very, very close in the middle of the pack. What do y'all think about the bottom dwellers? Who has the better bottom dwellers when you start talking about Nebraska, Northwestern, Penn State this year? But Penn State is not a bottom dweller in most years. LSU, Rutgers, Wisconsin, Maryland. And then you got, in most years, you don't have LSU as a bottom dweller. You got LSU, Kentucky, Florida, Auburn, Mississippi State, South Carolina, Arkansas. Who you think has the better teams at the bottom of the pack?
I'll say that. Now that's the one I'm gonna just go flat out with and say we just gonna call that a draw. They all suck.
Yeah, see, and this is what I'm saying. I don't think there's no difference in the middle or the bottom. I think you will see an even split. But this is where the SEC and their delusion comes in. They have at the top, they have B+ teams. So them B+ teams might mess around and lose to the team at the bottom who's a C- team. But the Big Ten has A teams that's going to torch everything that's at the bottom of their conference, and there's never really going to be upsets, and that's where I think people don't understand. It's like the top team in the Big Ten in the SEC is closer to the bottom team in the SEC than it is in the Big Ten, and that's where the difference comes.
Okay. What you think, post game?
The bottom teams, I'm going to lean to the SEC. Why am I leaning towards the SEC? Because I think of a team like Arkansas, who finished with a terrible record, but was actually one of the better offenses in the country. So if that's a bottom dweller team, I'm going to lean towards the SEC.
What's your take on SEC, Sean?
I mean, it's the bottom feeders. Your Kentuckys and Mississippi States, could lose to anybody, could beat anybody. Those teams, I mean, we saw Mississippi State push Texas to the brink last year. You saw Kentucky push Texas to the brink last year. I just think that the bottom is closer to the top in the SEC. I'd have to go, but it would probably be close. I mean, again, you're basing it on last year. Looking at where they are. I mean, Penn State's not a typical bottom feeder. Of course, neither is LSU. And Florida's normally not that far down. Florida had all the talent in the world, just couldn't have a coach who knew what he was doing. So I do agree with one take. It's pretty even, but I do see the SEC. And as far as it goes with Tijuana, I get your point where your teams have beaten ours middle of the pack in the bowl games. I've said it numerous times, and I'll continue to say it. I don't count bowl game standings into anything because half the dang players don't even play anymore.
Yeah, I think if I'm going to give a nod to anybody, I'm going to give it to the SEC simply because, and one take Zaya made his point, but the rebuttal to his point is when you look at those teams who are in the bottom who give really, really competitive games against some of those top tier teams in the SEC, it's because when you look at the NFL draft and the fact that the SEC teams have far more talent in the SEC than they have in the Big Ten. And I think that's the reason why you get a top tier team when they got to go on the road and play against a team in the SEC that's in the bottom. You get a much more competitive game because they have a lot more talent, I think, in the SEC than they have in the Big Ten. And every NFL draft for the last 20 years have proven that to be true. So I think that's the reason why we see it the way I think that's the reason why Isaiah see it the way he sees it is because he thinks that it's just these teams aren't as good because they playing against this lower tier team and they're not blowing them out like what you see in the Big Ten. And I think this because it's a talent disparity in both of those conferences. It's more talent in the SEC than it is in the Big Ten. Even though the Big Ten might have the top 5 best players like we've seen here recently in this last draft with all those Ohio State guys going high, eventually you've seen it from Alabama, you've seen it from Georgia, and next year you might even get to see it from Texas. But I just think the SEC has more talent, and that's why their bottom-dwelling teams can have competitive games against their upper-tier teams. Let's play this last segment of the show. We're going to go through the top 16 teams in both conferences, and you tell me who you think wins this game. We got Georgia, Indiana. Who wins that game, SEC, Sean?
Georgia. This coming year, we're talking about the games coming up this
from
year,
last
or
year.
just in general? From last year?
Yeah.
I have to give that one to Indiana. I mean, they're the defending national champions. I think they would have beat Georgia.
Who you got post game?
I'll go Indiana as well.
Who you got one take?
Indy.
Who you got, T1?
Yeah, it's an easy Indy.
Yeah, I got Indy as well. We got Alabama versus Ohio State. Who you got, T1?
Ohio State.
Who you
Easy.
got one take?
Oh, State.
Who you got post game?
Ohio State.
Who you got SEC, Sean?
Alabama losing by 60.
By 60. I got Ohio State as well. Next game, we got Oregon versus Ole Miss. Based on last year, who you got SEC, Sean?
I'm going to take Ole Miss because I trust Trinidad Chambliss more.
Who you got post game?
Give me Mississippi.
Who you got one take?
Oregon.
Who you got T1?
Now, see, on this one, I would need to know where this game is being played because I think
It's a neutral site, baby. It's a neutral site.
a neutral site. Man, I'm taking Oregon.
Okay, and I'm taking Ole Miss. So Ole Miss gonna get the win right there. We got Michigan, Texas A&M. Who you got in that one, T1?
A&M.
Who you got in that one? One take.
Teton.
Who you got in that one? Post game.
Aggies.
And I know your SEC Sean got the Aggies too. This was a tough one for me, man, because the Aggies don't stop the run in Michigan. That's what they want to do. That was going to be a tough one for me, but I think the talent level with Marcel Reed knows wide receivers will probably win that one. So we're going to go with Texas A&M. We got USC versus Texas. Who you got, SEC Sean?
Texas.
Who you got, Post?
Texas.
Who you got, one take?
Texas.
Who you got, T1?
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Texas on this one, too.
We got Iowa versus Oklahoma. This is going to be a hell of a matchup right here. Who you got in this one, T1?
Iowa.
Who you got in this one take?
Iowa.
Who you got post game?
Man, this is super tough, but I'm going to say Material makes one more play. Give me Oklahoma.
Who you got, SEC?
I'm taking Oklahoma's defense in this one.
I'm taking Oklahoma's defense as well. Iowa had just a little more offense. I would take them because I think they can slow down Material enough. But the fact that they don't have enough offense against that Oklahoma defense, I'm going to take Oklahoma as well. Illinois versus Vanderbilt. This is a good matchup, too. Who you think wins this one, SEC, Sean?
Illinois for T1.
Sorry, I didn't hit my – I thought I hit my button to unmute for a second. But I'm going to go Vanderbilt with Pavia. I think Pavia makes enough plays against Illinois.
Okay, we got a 1-1. Post, who you got?
Yeah, I thought Illinois was going to be what Indiana was this past season, but in this case, I'm going to go with Pavia and Vanderbilt.
Who you got, one take?
I got Vandy.
All right, we're going to go Vandy with the win. Minnesota versus Missouri. Who y'all got in that one? Let's go with you, T1.
Minnesota.
Who you got, one take?
Missouri.
Who you got post game?
Mizzo.
Who you got, SEC?
Missouri, Hardy.
We got Missouri with the win. We got Washington versus Tennessee. Who you got in that one, SEC?
Washington.
Who you got, Post?
Washington.
Who you got, one take?
Washington.
Who you got, T1?
Going with Washington as well.
Yeah, we got Washington with the win right there. We got Nebraska versus LSU. Who you got, T1?
LSU.
Who you got, one take?
Man, Nebraska, man. LSU was terrible last year.
Who you got post game?
Nebraska.
Who you got, SEC, Sean?
Both teams were terrible last year, but I'm going LSU.
Yeah, I'm going LSU too. Nebraska was horrible too, man. They was horrible, bro. It was horrible. Kentucky versus Northwestern. Northwestern, man, they weren't that bad of a team. Who you got now? Kentucky had a lot of talent, though. Who you got in this one, SEC, Sean?
I had them in last in my power rankings every week, except for one, so I got to go Northwestern.
Northwestern. Who you got, Post?
Northwestern.
Who you got, One Take?
Northwestern.
Who you got, T1?
Western.
Yeah, I got Northwestern for the win. Florida versus Penn State. Two teams that underachieved last year that both had a lot of talent on a neutral site. Who you got in this one, T1?
Penn State gonna pull it out that last game of the season, man.
Who you got, One Take?
Penn State.
Who you got, post game?
Give me the Gators.
Who you got, SEC, Sean?
I'm gonna take Lagway. I still like him, Texas boy, so I'm going Florida.
Yeah, I'm going Florida too. I think Ball in that running game will be able to beat Penn State. Penn State had a lot of mental woes in their season last year. Auburn versus UCLA. Who y'all got in this one? UCLA back in once they started getting it figured out. They were a really good team. Auburn had no offense but had a really good defense. Who y'all think win this one, SEC, Sean? Auburn or UCLA?
I'm gonna go with Auburn's defense in this one. I think Auburn wins the game 3-2.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bad one. Who you think in this one, post game?
Auburn.
Who you got, One Take?
It was Auburn versus who?
UCLA.
Man, I'm going with Nico.
Who you got, T1?
UCLA.
Man, I'm going with a push right there, man. We got a draw right there. I don't got nobody winning that one. Mississippi State versus Rutgers. Who you got, T1, in that one? Mississippi State or Rutgers?
Hey, I'm gonna have to go Big Ten and go with Rutgers still. We at the
Rutgers. One Take, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going Mississippi State. They had a lot of speed at receiver.
Yeah, that Brendan Thompson killed us. Who you got, post game?
Give me Mississippi State.
Who you got, SEC, Sean?
Give me them Bulldogs.
Bulldogs. I'm going with the Bulldogs as well. We got Wisconsin versus South Carolina. Who you got right there, SEC, Sean?
I want. Can I take first half South Carolina versus A&M and use that for the whole game? I'm gonna take Carolina. I think with their receiving core with Harbor, and I think South Carolina.
Yeah, I'm going Wisconsin. That team played hard, even though they had a rough one last year. They played hard.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Wisconsin too, and believe that they probably gonna pound South Carolina a whole lot.
So what we got, 2-2? I'm the tiebreaker.
No, I haven't went. Let me.
Oh, you didn't go yet? Who you got right there, Post?
Tough, but give me South Cat, man. And shout out to the United Hoods.
Man, Wisconsin to me was horrible, bro. They had no offense whatsoever, man. I got South Carolina on that one. And then we got Arkansas versus Maryland. Who y'all got right there, SEC, Sean?
Oh, this isn't close. This is Arkansas, and it's Arkansas by a mile.
But what you mean? It ain't
Right.
like what?
Dude,
did you not watch Maryland? You probably didn't watch one game of Maryland last year, bro. Like, why we acting like you watch Maryland? That freshman quarterback they got was nice, bro. You didn't even watch him.
Give me Taylor Green and Mike Washington running the ball right down their throat now.
Hey,
Now,
Maryland got
it will
2
be high
defensive
scoring.
ends that's going to be the best in the country this year. They was young this
That's
year.
fine. They was young. That's what we talking about last year. Give me Taylor.
Yeah, we know
Green.
you ain't watch them though. That's all. So don't be saying it ain't even close because you know you ain't watching.
I did watch Maryland play last year.
It's definitely close, and I'm picking Maryland.
I think Arkansas blows them.
I'm picking Maryland on a neutral site because Arkansas gonna go in there thinking they're gonna blow them, thinking that they just a little lower level Big Ten team, and that's what happened in all of them bowl games. Like right now, I know the SEC is winning in all of our picking and choosings, but guess what, y'all? It ain't been like that for the past couple years.
Yeah, it's a lot of brand bias going on.
Yeah, a whole lot.
I mean, I think we've all watched a lot of college football last year, man. And when you look at that game, Maryland did have a really good freshman quarterback, and they were a better bottom-dwelling team. But you got to think about this. They finished at the bottom of the Big Ten, and the only teams under them was Michigan State and Purdue. And when you think about that Arkansas team, who we watched a lot because they was on TV a lot, that Taylor Green and that offense scored a lot of freaking points, man. They just had no defense. Their defense was horrible. Do we think Maryland defensively could have stopped Arkansas from scoring more points than their offense? I don't think so. Maybe they would have. But I just don't see them stopping Taylor Green and that offense. Only team who really shut them down was Notre Dame. Was the only team that really shut that Arkansas offense down. So I think that Arkansas will outscore them, in my opinion. Anything else y'all want to add about this debate between the Big Ten and the SEC before we wrap up? We're a little over an hour, right at around an hour and 12 minutes. Any closing remarks from you, SEC Sean, about this debate between the SEC and the Big Ten?
I mean, I thought it went about. Oh, you going with?
Go ahead, SEC Sean. Then we'll go to post game.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you said me to go. I mean, I think it was a good debate to have. I kind of knew how it was going to break down, but I know we got one take over there. I always give him credit. I'll give him junk and call him mini take, but I'm going to change it back. He is one take. His one take is the SEC is delusional. He said it about 4 times, so I'm going to go ahead and go ahead with that, but. I kind of figured this is how it was going to go. So it was going to break down between, the 2 conferences. So it was a fun little exercise to do. I mean, I had fun doing it. I hope everybody did. Don't take no hard feelings to nothing that was said. We all just kind of rolling along and giving our opinions.
I'll take Arkansas in that game.
Yeah. What's your closing remarks on this debate post game? Maybe you had to step away for a minute. What's your closing take on this one? One take, Zaya. Your closing remarks about this debate between the SEC and Big Ten when it comes to conference football.
I mean, we got another year to look forward to see who rule as king. And SEC, I don't know why you can't put no respect on my name. And it's one take, Zaya. Get it right, bruh.
T1, what's your closing remarks on this debate between football with the SEC and the Big Ten?
I'm going to say the proof is in the pudding, a.k.a. the results that we've been seeing here most recently. And it was a good debate, but it was as we would expect. The SEC rocking with the SEC and the Big Ten rocking with the Big Ten. I threw some SEC victories in there, and that's about how it went. In these past few seasons, the Big Ten will win more than the SEC when these 2 conferences matched up. So it went as expected. It's always going to be a good argument, just like SEC Sean said. If we don't have these arguments and these debates, what are we talking about? We're actually kind of bored. So, I think we had a good debate today. Good show, fellas.
Yeah, I think it was a very good debate as well. And the thing that I like the most about both of these conferences is the fact that they both understand we the kings of college football. And I don't think any of the top teams in the SEC or in the Big Ten are shying away from scheduling games with each other. They understand, listen, if we want to say we're the best team in college football, we got to go on the other side and play the best teams that they got in their conference, and we got to go play the best teams that they got in their conference. And I think that they're making it for a great debate between shows like ours and other shows. And I appreciate everybody for joining us, for tuning in and allowing us to do this exercise with this debate between these two conferences. I enjoyed everybody's responses. And as we all know, SEC guys are going to be on the SEC. SEC fans are going to be with the SEC. Big Ten fans are going to be with the Big Ten. And that's how it was on this show, too. And I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Everybody, make sure that you look across the bottom and subscribe to all those channels that you're seeing at the bottom. Even though we come on here as WTP Sports Dudes, everybody has their own individual channel that they do content on. So watch those scrolling across the bottom and go and support each and every one of us, because even though we're one entity, we're also separate entities as well. So please do that for us. Go check us out on Spotify and on Patreon at WTP Sports Dudes 2026. And also go check out our website. It's been updated. We would love to hear your comments and your questions that you have, and even what you think about the questions that we got on there at WTPSportsDudes.com. Thanks again, fellas. I appreciate y'all. We'll be back again at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Our man, I believe One Take Zay is going to be hosting tomorrow morning, and he'll send all that information out. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see y'all later on today. Take us out, T1.
Y'all know the drill. We was in the building. Now we up out of here. WTP Sports Dude. Peace. Love y'all, fellas.
Love you too, bro.
Peace.